Before we begin this episode, I want to give a shout out to all of our patrons over on patreon.com/bitterbrownfems. For as little as $1, you can support the ongoing production of this podcast. A very special thanks to our BFFs, who are Christian G, Evelyn P, and Cassandra G. Y'all are real ones for supporting us for so long. Some of you from the start. So yes, thank you again, Christian, Evelyn, Cassandra G. And yeah, $5 gets you a video episode, and $10 gets you a bonus episode every month. And not to mention like years of archival, like just content to, entertain you. So yeah, again, patreon.com/bitterbrownfems. The link is in description. And let's start the episode. We are doing it live. Hello, hello, hello. It is your one of your hosts, Ruben, coming to you from Portland, Oregon.
And this is Cassandra coming to you from El Paso, Texas.
And this week's recession indicator is
Is
that,
that Will Smith has a new song.
oh, that's real. I have heard a snippet of it, uh, and it was bad, but somebody said that it was a BPM problem. And they said if you slow it down or speed it up, this can actually be a banger.
I have not heard it. I have not heard it. I don't want to be taken back.
Um, oh God, get jiggy with it.
Well,
Oh
I
my
guess,
God.
yeah, you know what? Will Smith's more 90s.
Yeah.
90s. But it did
Welcome to
take me
Miami.
back. Like, he just was like, you know what? Time to make a song.
We were not in a recession in the 90s, right?
No,
We were in a
no.
recovery state during the Clinton era. Um, but yeah, no.
We
Oh,
don't even need a recession indicator because it's like, it's not funny because now we're going to war or at war.
bitch.
So
Even-
there's no
I'm going
need
out.
for
I'm
a
going out.
recession.
I'm going to war with Trader Joe's. Let's start there. Because why were there eggs that are, were $3 a couple weeks ago? Yesterday were 4.50, almost $5. So Trader Joe's, you have some fucking nerve. And they're usually the cheaper option. And you know what I remembered early yesterday when I was grocery shopping? Because I was like, damn, bitch, you used to be able to eat for like 2 weeks on like $40. Uh, their eggs used to be like $2, like back in the day. And so yes, fuck, fuck the situation that's making everything so expensive. But yes, as you were saying, the US launched uh missiles or attacked Iran just less than like 36 hours ago, I want to say. It is Monday, June 23rd today. And
Mhm.
this shortly after Israel bombed Iran and then Iran retaliated. Um Mind you, like Iran was just like, and first of all, like I want to preface this with like I'm not like making excuses for Iran's like government. This is not about that. Um, Iran has its own issues with its own government. Um, but as far as I know, it's not like they were fucking tearing up Israel to warrant Israel bombing them.
Of course, there's like no, Israel just does shit because they can with no consequences.
Because didn't they also just recently bomb Lebanon?
Yes,
And I want to say somewhere else, but I can't put my finger on it. But at least two other places, I believe. But that's three like countries in the last year. That's Iran, Lebanon, and Palestine. And they just like basically just spin a wheel and fucking bomb people. And I think that's like indicative of what Israel really is, which is like a Western stronghold or a Western representative in the Middle East, right? Like it's just there to represent US and Western interests um in there. That's like where that's home base for a lot of like Western interests.
Mhm.
Yeah. And usually like a president has to have like some sort of like there's like a way of going about like basically like launching us into war. There's like a due process for that, but Trump again just bypassed that entire thing and just went straight to bombing people. Which some have called for like those are grounds for impeachment, including AOC.
Yes, which is I calls for impeachment are so useless. Well, AOC is useless, but also calls for impeachment because if he wasn't impeached after January 6th, it's like, okay,
Wasn't he technically impeached after his?
I don't I don't even recall. I don't
I
think
that long ass
so.
fucking due process because this motherfucker was found guilty of like crimes, like he was convicted and then still ran for president and won, but those convictions were still convicted, like whether or not they were overturned because he owns the fucking government now. But yes, impeachment, first of all, it's like not an easy process. Like, and even after like there's a vote to impeach like a president, there's still like approvals that need to happen. Like I've never seen like a real impeachment. And I can't even like I'm not a history buff, but I can't remember the last time somebody was really impeached. Uh, because Bill Clinton went through his own shit. That didn't go anywhere. Even fucking Nixon, he had to be like, I'm actually piecing out myself. Um, so I don't know. I am, I don't know what it's gonna take, but he keeps doing these things without due processes, and it reminds me of like how, oh God, the No Kings protests, um, which are like, trying to were supposedly trying to combat like Donald Trump's like habit of just enacting things without due process in a way that a king would. And so everybody got all riled up for that one day protest and, we don't want any kings and filled up all the streets. And okay.
It was like the Women's March.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like Pussy Hat Convention without the pussy hats.
Yeah,
At least,
exactly.
at least I feel like the Pussy Hat March people. Oh, I just remember that somebody called me a misogynist in our comments recently, like in our Spotify comments, because of the
Why?
Katy Perry episode. It was yeah, because apparently like we didn't credit the that it was like misog anti-black misogyny to say Gayle King was not like an astronaut or whatever. Uh, and we
Oh,
didn't give the other women enough credit or whatever. I'm just like, what the fuck? But anyway, uh,
like
Pussy
so
Hat.
many thoughts. I'm trying to remember what we even said about that.
That it was a waste of money and that it was a waste
Yes,
of
it was like
resources.
a girl boss. Like, oh my gosh,
I mean, that shit would have banged like in 2012, 2016
absolutely.
when we were all liberal pilled. Like that would have gone off on BuzzFeed, let me tell you that.
hmm
And Giphy,
But
uh
it's 2025, and
like
well, there are people that are still in that mindset,
oh,
but we're not. We're not here.
no,
So I'm
like
sorry.
anybody who supported Kamala Harris in her first run for presidency is definitely still there. Anybody who genuinely supported her in her second run for president is still in 2016 politics. Um, and haven't haven't grown out of it. Um, I hate to say that Beyonce's still in 2016 politics.
Mm.
Um,
Saw that. Yeah.
but what were we talking about before? Oh yeah, the Pussy Hat people. Like at least they had kind of like a goal,
Yeah.
right? There was
Sure.
like calls, there was like an organized the Women's March people, which, at least displayed some sort of diversity and like a wants list or whatever, and they kind of did it for a reason, right? Whether, you know, it wasn't really effective. I was gonna say whether it was effective or not is yet to be seen. But no, it wasn't effective. Like Roe v. Wade got overturned, bitch. Like, and a bunch of other worse things. Like trans athletes
Because it
are like,
really wasn't like a follow-up, which is what we see a lot of with these marches. There's no demands and there's no follow-ups. It's kind of just like here's a photo op for a lot of
mm,
people who has a quirky sign, whatever, and then we're all gonna go home until, you know, there's another march that's happening. There's no mobilization happening at these protests. I feel when the No Kings protests, marches, whatever came out, which this was like 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
Now I'm seeing less of the of LA on my feed. It kind of, you know, liberal movements do that. I don't know what the word is right now, but they like,
like defang. Um,
mhm.
I mean, like what's it called? Like the basic function of neoliberalism is to co-opt
Yeah,
movements.
exactly. Co-opt and like pacify, I
Yes.
guess might be a word. But that's what I felt because there was all this like movement in LA, and I haven't seen a lot of it now ever since the No Kings protests. And I'm sure that's not me because I've seen other people talk about that as well. But I mean, it could be me, obviously. And I'm not saying that that it's not happening anymore, but it definitely was just kind of like this is the way we should do it. Non-violent,
Yeah.
non-violent protesting or whatever the fuck.
I mean, LA's still popping. Like just a
Hmm.
couple of days ago, they raided my hood and all my surrounding hoods. And the people who showed up and showed out, and even were like coming for Bell Police. Because my actual hometown, Maywood, doesn't have its own police force because they were so fucking corrupted, and then the city like was bankrupt essentially. So because of the corrupted police force and because of corrupted like local government, so they don't have their own police force. But Bell, they were like protecting ICE agents, and trying to make up lies that like they were actually protecting, well, which is even worse in some ways. They were like protecting the cars, they were saying, because there was like quote unquote an accident. But then video showed that like ICE essentially caused an accident by like hard swerving into like a random civilian's car as they were trying to like chase down somebody they were trying to abduct. That ICE was trying to abduct. Um, but yeah, no, LA's still on and popping. Um, but yes, I agree with you that these No Kings protests were kind of presented as this like alternative of like this is how you do it. Um, and a lot of things about those shits piss me off because it's like, all right, bitch, you're gonna go out there in this fucking protest. What are your demands? Oh, you got none. Cool. What are you doing after this? All right, nothing. Cool. What the fuck was this for then? You're just wasting. It's a space for people to burn off like energy and like drive and um the actual like will to do something. Um, and it fully co-ops things because I like in Portland alone, I just I see they're like massive mobilization, tens of thousands, like block off bridge or whatever. And there was like a march that was from like that took along like a big part of the freeway, and you see the image and it's like, what's it called? It's like gripping, but then you're like, okay, these bitches got permits. Like this was just a fucking parade. Um, because if your protest has fucking permits and police escorts, bitch, then your protest is a fucking parade. I'm just gonna say that. I will always say that. Like, stop going to fucking parades. Go to a fucking protest. A protest is supposed to disrupt. And what pissed me off the most is that, like, you see this big picture? What you don't see is that just a couple blocks away from where these people, like, were marching is an actual ice center where there's still like encampments of people like taking up space there, just in some cases like throwing down with like riot police and shit. um but like if people wanted to like be real about it, they would have taken all those tens of thousands of people and crowded those streets outside of ice. Like, not even gotten nitty gritty or anything, just fucking been there to be witness. Um, but no, like it's not really about doing shit. It's about like getting your little photo op, fucking and just burning off steam. Because at the end of the day, all these bitches that I saw, um, like on these fucking streets, like with their little No Kings protest signs, um, they're back to doing nothing. They're back to saying nothing. Um, and not only that, but what pissed me off was like a lot of the fucking gay men in fucking Portland is that like nothing about fucking Gaza for fucking years at this point. Um, and then when it came down to immigration, you were like taking the fucking liberal route of like hardworking families and shit. And then went to your little fucking No Kings protest with your little gay ass, like no kings, only drag queens signs. And then I went back to doing jack shit. Went back to getting your fucking cheap mimosas from drag brunch. Like you're so fucking annoying.
Which people were still with the signs, where we talk about the signs because it gets so annoying. Like the if Kamala would have won, we would have been at brunch, and it's like that wasn't cute when you said it about Hillary. It's not cute now. It's like it amazes me how people have not, I don't know. I always think about this like I used to be liberal. We used to live out, I used to live out, right? Or not just a lot of my politics, a lot of my views have changed, right, over the years. And I just don't understand people who have lived through this is the second Trump presidency and they're still on the liberal bullshit. Like I don't understand like what's not fucking clicking. What's not clicking? Like I don't understand why you haven't moved further left and why you're like it's amazing, but I guess I mean at the end of the day it's comfortable. It's a comfortable place to be, you know?
Yeah,
But
cause you
that's what I feel about these fucking marches.
yeah, cause you're not challenging yourself to think about like, oh, why have things gotten worse? Because that'll require you to actually like apply critical thinking skills and actually get a fucking political education as opposed to getting your political education from fucking celebrities that you follow or CNN and MSNBC at best and Fox News and the Joe Rogan podcast at worst. Like, um, somebody asked recently on Patreon, like, you guys always talk about like such important things. Why do you guys think you're not as popular? Or why do you think you guys don't have like this massive audience? And like, I basically responded to them like, we are at this crossroads where essentially we've been deemed like a Latinx podcast, and Latinx audiences are still on their liberal shit for the most part. Like, yes, a lot of us are radicals, and yes, obviously, like with LA, like we show up in the streets, but like as far as like organized thought and critical media analysis, critical political analysis, like we're just not there yet. So we're too radical sometimes for that audience. And then on the like the radical politics side, we're honestly too fucking brown. They want to listen to fucking Hassan and those two Taylor socialist girls. Like they want white people to give them their political analysis. And so with that, like it's time to like step out of like 2016 liberalism, shake people up. Fuck, like if you like always a proponent for reading, but if people do not eh, find time to engage that, then fucking put on a YouTube video of like, you know, a leftist YouTuber. There are so few now, but you know, when they were on and popping in the, you know, in the first Trump administration, fucking put on a ContraPoints video, a fucking philosophy tube video, and just like get those fucking gears running, cause girl, we are running out of time, especially with World War III looming above us.
Yeah, I don't know why we're not popular. A lot of people don't like us, aside from that, aside from everything Ruben just mentioned. But it could be numerous things. But it is, I think, I think, like going back, like a bigger audience when we were marketed that way more, right? Like on these like Latinx podcast lists and stuff like that. And like I said, we've had this podcast for like 8 years. I
Yeah.
don't know, like 8 7 8 years for sure, going on 9 maybe. And that is a fucking long time. And again, our politics have changed. Like they grow, you know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's episodes that if we would go back, I would be like, oh, I don't agree with that anymore. Or whatever, right? And like part of the podcast for me has been that we've grown together, like being able to have conversations and also feedback from people from our listeners as well, and like their input has helped me whatever. And I feel like again some people are just stuck on the just they just want to hear very basic liberal stuff too.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, now now it's too much, or you're too left, or you're too this, and I didn't sign up to listen to that. I don't know.
To be frank with you, like I think that I am slowly moving away from like what is broadly unknown. Well, not slowly, but I am critical now of like what people understand to be identity politics. Um, just because I've seen more and more like what our inability to engage class, um, what that has led to, right? Um, there's a book that I'm trying to get through recently that's Why the Rich Love uh, Identity Politics, or Why the Rich Love Racial Justice. And it basically, the um, synopsis of the book is trying to talk about like why the ruling class was so gung-ho for like, you know, 2016, like, you know, uh, racial justice politics. And it was because they was able to like steer the conversation away from the injustice of their wealth inequality to like the problem is the fact that we're not nice to other people. Um, but yeah. Um, but riots are still happening. I'm not saying join your local riot. I will say join a local org that is doing any type of work. If there's a union you could be a part of, join that fucking union. Um, Oregon just recently passed uh like a legislation that allows for people who are on strike to be paid for like 30 to 60 days. So that's fucking dope. That's one step towards like a general strike, which somebody recently, I saw somebody posting about like, you know, how France always gets down and when their people are pissed, like they get on the streets and everybody's fucking shit up. And you know, they get their government to listen to them. And a big part of it is that they stop society. Like they are able to stop society from continuing as usual. The buses, the grocery stores, everything stops until the government changes, um and it's all to do with unionizing. So, yeah. I see you've been doing some work with bikes recently.
with bike.
What do you mean? Why is that funny?
Just with bikes. Yeah, which is like this I guess not even this weekend, the last week now, last few days. There was a project here from BC Sin Fronteras, which is like a collective of cyclists in El Paso, Juarez, Ciudad de Mexico, Albuquerque, kind of like surrounding here. To get 200 bikes across to Mexico, well, to Juarez, but then throughout Mexico, even like in Chiapas, to people in need, right? Because bicycles are magical, they're amazing, and they are not only environmentally friendly, obviously, but they're a great way for people, especially like women, migrants, um, working class people who don't have any form of transportation to get to where they need to be. So it was a lot of work. Shout out to everybody that was a part of that because it was literally like these bikes came from Chicago to Loretto to El Paso. They were not necessarily like ready to go working bikes. There was like 2 days where people had to fix them, like repair them. And then crossing them over to Juarez was like a whole other thing. Like we had to ride them into Juarez, like back and forth. So it wasn't like, let's put them on a truck and cross them over. You know what I mean? It was a lot of work. So it was very amazing because there were, again, it was like a collective effort from, there's people here from Albuquerque, from Las Cruces, El Paso, from Juarez that were all involved. And yeah, it was amazing to see all the work and that it happened because there was like a point where I was like, even I was like, I don't think this is gonna happen by this date. Like, there's like too much work. It's too, you know what I mean? But they did it, all the volunteers. So yeah, it was really exciting and very awesome to be a part of. I don't know how to repair bikes. I'm barely learning. Like, I've been taking classes
On how to ride a bike?
um, on how to repair bikes. Not how to ride a bike, on how to repair them. But also, that's why it's like a collective effort. It's like I did what I did on my schedule or volunteered with what I could do, and everyone else, you know what I mean? Like some people were there all the 4 days, and some people like repaired bikes, and some people crossed them over, and some people like did inventory. So, like I said, it was just like amazing to see all the collective work and like the success of it. So that was awesome.
That's great, yeah. That reminds me of like um when like I mentioned earlier that, you know, get down to the nitty-gritty, like don't just go to these no kings these like parades, these glorified parades, right? You don't also have to be out in these fucking streets like uh in the encampment and shit, like outside of ICE. Like, you know, in Portland, there's like a longtime organizer who who had been organizing around ICE for almost a decade now. And she went to the encampment and she was like, "Hey, like this is great. I love that you guys are mobilized, but like this happened exactly like 8 years ago, 6 years ago." And she's like, "And this is happening right now, happened then. There's a lot of energy put into like, disrupting the ICE headquarters, blah blah. But then what the only things that came from that were legal fees, and like imprisonment and police trauma. Meanwhile, we're trying to pass like this petition or this legislation about ending ICE contracts in Portland, and those are getting less noise because it's not as flashy. And it reminds me of a couple things. One, that like ICE is a contractor essentially. Like they rent out spaces all over cities, and cities make contracts with them. Another thing is that like, winning these types of battle takes a multi-pronged attack, right? There's not only like the folks doing shit on the ground who are like, you know, uh, disrupting ICE, on the ground. There's also folks who are trying to get things done through like the government, and there's education, and there's mutual aid parts. Like all these things work together. Like we have to move in different directions in order to get things done. And it reminds me of like, in war, there's people in the battlefield, there's strategists, there's like nursing units, like there's all these things to make a successful attack, and that's kind of the mentality that we have to get into right now.
Mhm. Especially right now, which we've seen, it's like war propaganda from like recycled from like 9/11, you know?
Mm.
Because it's not new. It's the same propaganda, and it's like if you are our age, or if you live through that and you're still falling for this propaganda, like what the fuck are you doing? But I mentioned this a lot that there was again this big anti-war movement at that time. I know people like to like, yes, there was people that fell for the propaganda, right? Obviously. A lot of patriotism at that time, right? A lot of just yeah, that was still around, but there was an anti-war movement. And what happened when Obama took office was that it died out because that's what liberals do, right? Like the demobilize movements. And so like Obama took office and then went on to continue bombing the Middle East, and but people didn't care because it was being done by a Democratic president. And that's the same thing that we're seeing now, like people that are still bringing up Kamala, like shut the fuck up. She lost. We don't need to be thinking about these hypothetical, like, well, if she would have, like, okay, well, she didn't. Okay? Like, period. She didn't live in the moment. We're right here. Like, shut the fuck up and get over it. She lost. And also, like, to stop being delusional that she wouldn't have done the same thing because there's a video that surfaced of her saying that she would bomb Iran. Like, the same that, and that this plan, also, I've been reading that this plan was came up, that they came up with this plan under Biden. They just executed it now. So, to act like this president wouldn't have done this, it's like, yes, they would have. You just would have ignored it, or you would have like been cheering it on because it came from a woman of color, right?
Oh God. Which reminds me, there was like some fucking lib or some conservative dude who was like, I just want to point out that one of the people bombing Iran is a woman or whatever. And I'm just, somebody was like,
It's
at the end of the day, we're all liberals.
yeah, like that's supposed to be it's just I don't know. I don't know what it's gonna take for people to just let go of the electoral politics. Like, um, yeah, like I said, I just come up like every time Trump does something, it's like Democrats are like, see, like bringing up the fact that Harris lost, and it's like, what is that doing? What, like, what is that doing for anybody? Like this aha gotcha moment, and it's like the same people on the front lines would have been on the same people if Kamala would have won. Like it's like liberals are not on the front line. It's all the marginalized communities that are under attack that are on the front lines under whatever president.
Also,
It's just like
like,
fucking annoying. It's so
also,
fucking annoying.
so many things to talk about. But first of all, like, when every time people are like, Kamala lost, like, y'all didn't vote for her, I'm just like, bitch, let's like rewind to the numbers. 15 million people didn't show up to vote this last election that showed up in 2020. 15 million people said, I would rather, my couch is a better option than voting for Kamala. So something went so horribly wrong in her campaign that 15 million fucking people just said, fuck this shit. That or the conservatives are right and the Democrats stole the 2020 election. Like, those are your two options, girly pops. Second of all, like you were saying, like the bombing of Iran, like that, was not just like a Trump plan. It wasn't even a Kamala plan, exclusively. I want to point out that it wasn't even just, a Biden or an Obama or a Bush or a Clinton or a previous Bush. It is this bombing of the Middle East. has been going on for more than 30 years at this point. We have, the United States has like always made an excuse to bomb Middle Eastern countries under this guise of looking for mass weapons of mass destruction. Meanwhile, the US has been the only place that's ever deployed an atomic bomb. And secondly, uh, they've never found weapons of mass destruction. Like the whole point of like invading Iran and Iraq, the Middle East, in the Bush era was because they were looking for weapons that they never found. And never mind the fact that um the US consistently invades countries, not only in the Middle East, but also Asian countries and Latin American countries, in order to like replace them with a government that is more favorable to America, which oftentimes ends up um, like biting America in the ass. Because I want to point out again that the U.S. intervention with the Middle East is how Al Qaeda came to prominence, how even fucking Bin Laden came to prominence. Like I want to remind y'all that Bin Laden was in like newspapers as like this, cool new leader in the Middle East, right? Like this, we've been here before. If you're more than 3 decades on this earth, then you know the fucking drill. And if you don't know, get to it. Snap your peers into some fucking common sense. Um, because this is not new. At this point, even our grandparents have witnessed how we're preemptively bombing like all these countries because they want to hurt us, right? They want to hurt our liberties or whatever the fuck. Meanwhile, we don't even have the liberty to buy fucking $2 eggs anymore. Yeah, anything else?
Oh my gosh. Not right now that I can think of the top of my head. Just a lot of bitterness.
One more week of Pride Month.
Oh yeah, it's I totally no, actually, I was gonna say I totally forgot it's Pride Month. It's not like I forget and then I'm like, oh yeah, it's fucking Pride Month. Like it's still happening.
You d-
Like, this month feels kind of long. I don't know. Like I'm like it's Pride Month, and then so much has happened that I forget it's happening during Pride Month. If
Oh
that makes
God.
sense.
Yeah.
Have you gone to any Pride?
No, because Portland Pride is not until July.
Oh, okay. Because I
Mhm.
know earlier in the year I had asked like what Pride festivities would look like under Trump's second term this year, and I haven't really seen a lot.
I mean,
I know we talked about in LA how there was like the cop presence was there, but that's not exclusive to LA. That's like every
I mean,
fucking big Pride.
it was also Target. Like a group of from Target was there, and people were like, "Didn't y'all just get rid of your Pride section at Target?"
Walmart has a Pride section. It's so fucking funny. I wish
But did Walmart ever do anti-DEI shit?
no, they're just Walmart, but there's the shirts are just I wish I someone had posted like a reel of it. I wish I could think of some of the shirts off the top of my head, but they're
Somebody
so
sent me something like "Homo estás." I'm
yes.
like, I would honestly.
So those are fucking funny.
I only have two pieces of Pride merch, and one of them was kind of by accident. I have a Mariah Carey shirt. We both have a Mariah Carey shirt that I got us. That's
mm,
technically Pride gear. In the
yes.
back it says Pride. And then I have a shirt from this artist whose name escapes me, but uh he drew like the devil in big pink boots and it said like Pride Month, but with demon highlighted.
Hmm.
And that's it. I just don't like the rainbow. Just
It's just like corny. It's like there are corny gays that do wear those shirts, but they need to market to
it
the
the
real
cool,
homosexual.
yeah. And, some carabiners, some cargo pants for the lesbians.
No, my Pride month is that I'm not bisexual anymore.
Oh,
I'm straight.
damn. Okay,
Yeah,
Jojo
because I'm
Siwa.
yes, because I'm tired of biphobes, dude. I'm just like yeah, like it's fine. I'm straight. Y'all want me to be straight? That's fine. I don't care anymore. I don't care about being bi. Like y'all are so fucking annoying. Every fucking Pride month specifically, it's like let's all talk about the bisexuals because there's nothing else like nothing else going on that we should be focusing on. It's always just a bisexual woman specifically. It's just fucking annoying.
Yeah, because bisexual men are gay, so
Yeah, exactly. But bisexual women are straight. Y'all want me straight? That's fine. I'm straight. I love
it's
Jesus. I love men so much. Like, that's fine. I do not care.
it's like that book from like the 50s or whatever, like men are from Mars, women are from Venus, but it's like bisexual girls are straight and bisexual men are gay.
hmm
Oh Lord. We should have a little
But
pride episode before so we can get
hmm
into these things in debt. Like I'm
hmm
sure that El Paso Pride is on and popping. Um, it can't possibly be worse than Portland Pride.
It
Um,
probably is.
bitch, last year, I'm not even gonna talk about it, but let's just say things are very expensive here for no fucking reason.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, with that said, I do want to bring up that like Mahmoud Khalil was released from ICE detention after like I
I
think
saw was
almost 4 months. Almost 4 months with no fucking no charge, no real charge other than like he was like organizing um at Columbia, which is not a fucking crime. Like protesting is your God-given fucking First Amendment right or whatever. Or second, whatever. I should learn my amendments more thoroughly. And yeah, so shout out to that. But you said you saw what?
I forgot. I forgot. I forgot. Sorry. Sorry, y'all. I forgot what I was.
But with that said, what made you less bitter?
Well, I was gonna talk about the bike stuff that made
Uh-huh.
me less bitter, for sure. But I was gonna say on top of that, when we were in Juarez on Saturday, which was the last day, that we finished transporting the bikes and there we had like a little ride over there to celebrate and we caught Juarez Pride, which I had never seen or been, and like that parade was fucking long. Like it was ongoing for some fucking time. So I was like, damn, I didn't know this. There's these many homosexuals out here in Juarez. Like, I love it. It was so being able to see the parade, the Pride Parade in Juarez, like made me less bitter because it was just awesome. Um the gays there, so they're just awesome. They're cute. But I was like, oh yeah, like let's stand on this corner. And the parade was it was just a bunch of like trucks and then like truck like there was just gays in the back, like in the truck beds, having the time of their life. Um, but yeah, I was like, okay, like we caught it. And then I stepped away and then it was like still ongoing like 30 minutes later. Like it did not stop that parade. So yeah, so that and just these last few days made me less bitter for sure.
Oh, nice. What's made me less bitter? I decorated my walls recently more, and that made me feel great. Um, and yeah, that's basically it. The weather has been shit here in Portland.
How's it? It's been raining.
Yeah, it
I
doesn't
wish it was
stop.
raining here.
I, girl, I would. So you should come live here. I should go fucking live in El Paso. Get my gay ass jumped.
Wow, no, no, no. Because these last few days it's been like 100, 104, 100. Like now it's like cooling down. We're supposed to get rain this week,
Yeah.
which is awesome. I hope we do and not just like, you know, just a little bit of drizzle
Mhm.
because that's what's been happening. But I hope we actually do get rain. But the temperature's going down, but the last few days have been hell,
Oh,
especially working on those bikes in that heat or that ride we did to Juarez. Like
yeah.
it was fucking hot as shit, but it is what it is. I hope we get rain.
Oh, I hope you get rain too. And honestly, we need the rain here in Portland because it was a pretty dry winter, all things considered. And if we don't get more rain, there's going to be like forest fires and shit.
Mm.
The cycle. All right, hon. Thank you all for joining us. All right.
Yes, we'll
Take
see you
care.
next week. Bye.
Bye.